Alright, question number one. When and where were you born?
I was born in Charleston, West Virginia, at the Macmillan Hospital in January of 1935.
Alright. Where did you go to school at?
I attended school when we lived in Pittsburgh till I was 8 years old. I attended school till the third grade, and we moved to Charleston, West Virginia from Pittsburgh. And I went from the third grade to junior high school, as we called it then, at Boyd Elementary Junior High School, and graduated from Garnet High School.
What was life for you back? Hold up. What was life like for you during the 50s? Well, how was it for you growing up?
Well, I grew up at a time that there was some segregation in West Virginia, and in Charleston there were a lot of places that we couldn't go, but we lived in a mixed neighborhood, and the only time the kids separated was when we had to go to school. The schools were segregated, and we couldn't go into a lot of restaurants or to the movie theaters, but we did not have to ride in the back of the bus. And a lot of places had the places that we couldn't go and sit down and eat, but we had our own black businesses back in that day, and it consisted of many, many businesses of everything from pharmacies to the high school to the movie theater to lawyers to beauty shops, barber shops, anything that was a business. And this was located down from Washington Street, and it was called The Block. And it was Shrewsbury Street all the way to the West Side Bridge.
How was it like for your family?
My family,
Mm-hmm.
my father worked every day to provide for us, and he worked for two white funeral homes, which they were segregated at that time, but he worked there, and he provided a nice home for us and our mom. And my mother was a stay-at-home mother in those days.
Describe Charleston back in the 50s.
Charleston was a beautiful place. The only thing was we didn't worry about not being able to go a lot of places because we could go about anywhere we wanted to go. And we had lots of things to do, and we always had plenty of churches with activities, and we had big ball games, a lot of rivalry with Huntington and the different places. And there was only one black high school in the city of Charleston, but there were two or three junior highs, and we went to all the children from St. Albans, West Side, Dunbar, all around the area. When they went to their what we call junior high schools, they all ended up at Garnet for the only high school available, except for West Virginia State College had a teaching college of teachers who were in college, and they taught school, but it was a small school.
Hold up. Ooh. Oh my god. How did it feel like to be segregated?
Well, it had no feeling because we couldn't go into places, and we didn't try. We caused no problems. We knew we couldn't enter, so we went to our own establishments. And like I stated, we had our own movie theater, and we didn't bother about trying to go places that we weren't allowed to go. And we lived in peaceful communities, and I lived in what we call the East End, and everybody lived next door to each other.
What's one memory that you love about growing up around that area? Around that time period.
What I liked growing up where I did because the people got along and they were good neighbors, and that we had fun. We had playground activities, although it was segregated, but we participated in state things for sports. We were always champions, and we had a lot of fun, and there was always something for us to do because there was a village for sure. And they speak of a village, and we lived in a village because the whole community looked after you, from the teachers to the principals to the preachers to the mothers and fathers of other children, and you felt needed and wanted and cared about.
What's one thing you hated about living in that time period?
I don't have any regrets of living in that time because I didn't miss anything. We had everything was available to us as much as could be given, and whatever we missed, we really didn't realize it because it was such a peaceful time and a good time to grow up in a community. There was no shooting and killings and such as this. Now people sit on their porches and told stories to the children. We popped popcorn. We had games to play. We skated. We did bicycle relays. It was just a peaceful time. There was no balance like it is now today.
Did you have any involvements in the civil rights?
Not really because of what was going on in Charleston, and we didn't have to participate in marches and anything like that going on. But there were marches, like the Diamond Department Store didn't allow people to eat at their counter. There was Woolworths 5 and 10 cent store, you couldn't sit down at their counters. So when the marches began in other places, they had marches here for segregation, just like other cities had.
Do you know anyone that had any involvement in it?
Not at the time because of the age factor made me unavailable for such things, but we knew what was going on, but we weren't participating. No, we didn't. We weren't allowed to participate.
Is it what do you feel? Well, let's see, what big differences have really changed? Well, like what's really changed between then and now?
Well, back then, as I said, there was a thing of restaurant seating, movie theaters that we couldn't attend, and different things of that going on. And that all lifted after the schools integrated. They took all our schools, turned them into maybe different things, different facilities, but we were allowed to sit down and eat in restaurants, go to the movies, and as far as change coming, that was about it because those are the only things that we were banned from going to. So there wasn't too much of a big change for us except the schools were integrated. My sister went to school all the way through to the black schools and she got in the 12th grade. Due to the law of the government, she had to graduate from Charleston High School, which was segregated, and she only was there 1 year and had to graduate from high school instead of being able to graduate from the school she had attended through the rest of her school years.
Did you have any major events happen to you due to the time period?
Huh?
Did you have any major events happen to you due to that time period? I said, did you have any major events happen to you due to that time period?
Major events?
Yeah.
Well, like we say, segregation took place and integration, and the schools changed completely because we were thrown in to have to go to the white schools, which we had no other choice because our schools were closed. And we managed to, I did not get to attend a mixed school because I had graduated prior. And it was done peacefully, and there was some controversies and some little disturbances, but no riots or anything like that occurred here. They may have on the outskirts of Charleston, West Virginia, but if they did, I don't remember anything like that occurring.
Do you have any interesting stories to tell about whenever you grew up?
And during our time, a lot of people came through the city, and we always got to see what was going on because my mom and dad took interest in what was happening, and we had wonderful people to visit us. And we're sort of kin to Leon Sullivan in a roundabout way, and he was always in our town visiting. Who's a great man about the apartheid. I can't say the word apartheid. And we had many children that graduated from Garner High School who became highly professional people. And we had one young man named Dr. Norman who had something to do with the first heart transplants in the United States. We had another journalist who was Tony Brown that graduated from Garner High School, was a wonderful man with a network called Black Journal. And so many children did so many things. They graduated from Garner High School. It was remarkable because it was a very small school that had to accommodate kids from all the surrounding areas. The only black high school in the city of Charleston, West Virginia. It still stands today as a technical school, and there are many memories there for me. And so many things that I could talk about, but some of them I can't remember.